Hi, Dror. Good to see you again. Could you introduce yourself and your business?
Yes, taking Cormac. Dror Katzav, CEO, founder of Adidas. My personal background is a bachelor degree in physics and math and master's in information sciences, and a career in the Israeli intelligence, building data solutions.
Mm.
Left the army in 2016 and very quickly started working on Adidas. And after launching Adidas, moved to the US in 2019 and currently based in California.
Nice. Okay, perfect. And talk to me about what Attidot does. What problems does it solve?
Yeah, so Adidas is a company we started in 2016 out of Israel. And Adidas is focused from the get-go on life and annuity. Specifically, what we are interested in is understanding the policyholder behavior and how policyholders use the life insurance products they own. What we found is that people buy their policies from agents. The
Mm.
agents get their commission day one, and then there is a big mismatch throughout the journey with the product between the customer that owns a product that they don't understand, the insurance company that never planned to provide services, and the agent that got their commission and checked out.
Mm.
There is a big gap and there is a big opportunity to understand what are the right intersections to help the consumer with retention, upsell, cross-sell, getting the most out of the product, and helping the insurance company get the highest potential lifetime value.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that because I've always been a believer that the insurance industry for especially life insurance seems to be a faceless direct debit that people just are paying for and don't remember and will cancel it eventually as well. So what got you into this?
Um, so when I was starting the company, I was looking for an industry that has a lot of data and has a lot of opportunities and is touching people's lives. And I think life insurance is a well-needed product for the consumers to be able to retire safely, have protection for a catastrophic event, and so on and so forth. But the experience people get with the product is definitely below what they would see in any other market, in any other financial product.
Hmm.
And we found this as an opportunity to build a data product that creates a big impact on people's lives. Because if they do end up owning more insurance for a lengthier period of time, getting the right fit for their needs, then you get a well-needed solution for the individuals, as well as solving a big problem in a big market.
Okay, yeah, very cool. Well, the insurance market is a large mountain to climb when selling into these sorts of businesses. So, what has your experience been like?
Selling to big insurance companies is definitely challenging. Definitely when we came in, we underestimated how big the industry is and how challenging it is to get an insurance company to move out of their way to do something different than the way things have been for many years.
Mm.
We underestimated the impact of the agents and this conflict between the agent and the insurance company in
Mm.
driving the right action and driving the right activity and being incorporated as part of that process. Over the years, the challenges in the early days are part of what makes it an interesting business for us and also what creates some of the moats for us as we go in, because we're now at a point where partnering with many of the insurance companies and getting access to a lot of their data and helping them drive the results is a selling point as we go into other insurance companies and can share with them the success we had elsewhere
Mm.
as a starting point for the conversation.
Mm. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So, did you find that the agents were a blocker to the insurance businesses, providers, carriers, however you call it?
I don't think the agents were a blocker. I think there is a little bit of rigidness and in the way insurance companies think about this, because everybody's interest is creating better experience for the consumer. But
Mm.
if the insurance company is relying on the agent to do that, and the agent is not paid to do that, and they rely on the carrier to do that, you create this kind of conflict between those two entities that doesn't let you actually solve for what's good for the consumer.
Mm. Yeah.
And I think helping both sides solve that and getting to the point where the consumers get that service, either from the carrier or from the agent, you need to build programs that either support the agent in doing so, or with their permission or kind of working with them, um, create that level of service at the carrier level so the consumer can have type of service that they should be getting.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And you're creating a win-win-win for everyone, for the consumers, for the agents, for the providers.
Yes, and especially yeah, as we're talking about AI, which is what we do, and as we're talking about AI kind of more broadly out there, seeing all of this experience with, agentic workflows and Gen AI and all of these kind of things, there's definitely a big component for the man in the loop, for the human in the loop.
Mm.
But that human needs to be, you know, needs to have the superpowers that AI could give them to create better experience, better service, better journey for the consumer. And to do that, you have to find those win-wins between the carriers that have the pockets to potentially do something like this
Mm.
and the agent that actually is the trusted person for the consumer in most of those cases.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Okay, so we've done a lot of research in the insurance space, and we found that some of the sales cycles, the longest sales cycle that we found whilst doing research was 36 months on average. What does your sales cycle look like?
Sales cycle is long, and that's pretty typical. What we've done to shorten our sales cycle is build a very good pilot program. So our pilot program is designed to get the data, run the models, produce meaningful insights in 2 weeks.
Okay.
And so in that 2 weeks, from the point we see the data to the point you see results, we're able to shorten a lot of the sales cycle because we're now talking about what you could have done with those insights
Mm.
rather than talking about like an opportunity that none of us have seen.
Yeah.
So if I can build a model that in 2 weeks will tell you who is not going to pay premium at the end of the quarter, we can start having the conversations on what do we do in that case. And now
Mm.
it's no longer theoretical. It's no longer, if you have a 5% lapse rate, out of 100 people, five are not going to pay premium this year.
Mhm.
So, within this quarter, maybe 1.5%. So 1.5% out of 100 is not a good strategy to go after them.
Mm.
But if I can prove you in 2 weeks that I can give you a list where out of 100, 75 are not going to pay the premium, then
Mm.
it's a different story. These
Yeah.
people are walking out the door right now. And either you find a way to stop them as they exit, or they're shopping, at another store across the street, and you want to show them what you have as well because you already are a provider for them. This is a very different conversation to have with the insurance company or with the agent
Mm.
than what would have happened without this pilot program.
Yeah, yeah. No, that makes sense. No, that's a good way of speeding up the process. So I guess the most resistance that comes in for you is then getting access to that data, because once you've got access, then you can run this pilot program and speed up the cycle. But getting at the insurance providers to give the data, is that where the pinch is as such? Sorry to interrupt. I'll let you get back to watching it in a second. I just wanted to say that I have created a document about the sales cycles that we've just been talking about. So this is a document and a guide on how to cut down the sales cycles within businesses. It's what we do within a lot of our clients' businesses when they have long sales cycles, some of the strategies that we have implemented and that have worked. So I thought I'd give it away to you for free as a thank you for watching, hopefully subscribing as well. But all you need to do to get this document is click on the first link in the description and enter your email. That's it. I'll send the document straight to your email immediately. Just come back to me and let me know what you thought about it. But yeah, I'll let you get back to the podcast.
No, I think once the companies have those, once we identify a company that has this type of needs that is suffering from, either whatever policyholder behavior, lapses, surrenders, not enough upsell, not enough cross-sell, whatever nuance in the policy they want to model, um, the sales cycle is pretty short. Um, Not overnight, but also not 36 months.
Yeah.
I think most of the cases in which we see these 24 to 36 months are in those situations where the company has made a decision, has this issue, but haven't made a decision to tackle that with their distributor. They're
Mm,
afraid from the distributor or they're shying away from that problem. You can always bury this kind of things in your third or fourth or fifth page of your financial reporting and not necessarily have it on the front page.
mm,
But if you want to be proactive about this and try and retain these people and try and keep this money in the house and those assets in the house, then we are, then the process is way shorter and easier than 36 months. More like 9 to 12 end to end from the point you made this decision to the point we show the results, we talk about a program, we launch the program, and then you see action, in the field.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm sure other people are wondering as well how you're going about identifying that need or establishing that these companies have that need, that problem that you can solve. Is that through referrals, like word of mouth? Is it a lot of outbound and just kind of testing the market and seeing who bites?
So yes, there is another method that we started doing in the last couple of years, and also in the last year. We made strategic partnerships with a few players, either policy admin players or TPAs, or some of the big providers. What we found is that insurance companies are in a mode where they want to have less vendors and do more with the vendors they have. I
Mm,
understand that. You don't want to have 12 startups running around doing different things if you can have one vendor that takes an umbrella responsibility on all of them.
mm,
By partnering with them, groups like Sapiens, EXL, Entity, each one in their kind of respective swim lane.
mm,
What we found is that we can be brought in very strategically to the conversation when the time is right. So on top of the typical marketing reach out and activity that we're doing, like everybody else is doing, if we're part of a Sapiens bundle that is being sold to you as part of an RFP, or if we're part of an EXL program that is marketed strategically to you when EXL is running either the TPA or the BPO for you,
mm,
very different story.
yeah.
And they also are in a situation where they already know where the data is. It's either on their platform or they're responsible for that data and so on and so forth. And we can come in under the same security umbrella, privacy umbrella, compliance umbrella,
Mm.
and that solves a lot of the challenges throughout the process.
Okay, okay. And I've spoken to a few people that have started partnerships before. We ran a few partnership campaigns for our clients in the past, and I think where a lot of people go wrong, and it sounds like you've overcome this by packaging it together, but where a lot of people go wrong is they try and just sell the partnership and expect the partnership then to sell their services by itself. Like they think, oh, I've partnered up now with this accounting firm, and now the accountants are going to go out and sell my solution to everyone. But unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. So your approach to it was very much bringing it to the service level offering as a package. So it's just all of the time now they get access to you if they're working with your partners.
Yes. So you're right. It's one thing to partner up with that company, and then a completely different thing to make that partnership successful.
Mm,
Um, we're investing in those partners, and investing in those partners is on the tech side, on the go-to-market side, um, my time and attention. Well, the goal is to make it successful, and it takes time and effort to get there. I think more than that, it takes time to identify exactly where the one plus one makes three.
mm,
If you partner with a consulting company and the offer that you're providing is so different than what they're typically used to sell, it's always going to be easier for them to sell themselves than to sell you. Um, so it takes time to kind of find what is the right thing that those companies have as a high strategic priority for them to be pushing out a market, and how you feed into that strategic priority and build a program with them where it's a win-win with them as well.
Mm,
So, for example, on our partnership with the Excel that is super successful, what we identified is that we can bring the insights to it all day long, but the insurance company, they don't have boots on the ground to actually go and take an action against this insight. It's going to stay, a nice dashboard, a good spreadsheet.
yeah.
What EXL provides in this case is the boots on the ground in actually doing the work. I can tell you who is not going to pay the premium, who's going to buy the next policy. They're going to be picking up the phone for you and making those calls,
Mm,
or we're going to be sending the letters, or we're going to be integrating into your CRM, or whatever that is.
yeah.
And then you create a solution where it solves for something that EXL wants to sell. It's a force multiplier for them, but also for the insurance company. Now, this becomes a thing that is not just, a pilot with a startup company or a platform that they buy from a startup company. It's a full program, it's a full solution. So, it's a much better offering for them as well.
Mm, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So so this is a strategy that has worked. Have you had any strategies that haven't worked in the sales front?
Um, So there's always those interesting stories about things that, went wrong. I think one of the things that definitely we experienced in the last few years is that there is a lot of turnover in the carrier side as well that we haven't seen in the past.
Mm,
Um, People change roles, private equity companies get involved more in acquiring those companies. And in those role changes, you may lose the relationship. It happened to us more than once, we had a relationship with our insurance company. This department went away, or this book of business went away, or that individual went away, and you kind of lose the relationship.
mm,
That definitely happens.
yeah.
Um, and I think some of the typical challenges of a startup working with a big company, you need to be very respectful of that on, being a startup working with a big company. One of the first early interactions we had an insurance company asking us to provide 5 years of audited financials. I think to this day, we don't really have, like, today we do have, but it's only recently where we had 5 years of audited financials.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, all of these things that, an insurance company need to check the box on, have some red tape on, you need to be aware of and you need to be respectful of. And early days, they also need to be respectful of the fact that you may not have that yet.
Mm, mm. Okay. So when the learnings off the back of these challenges maybe that you faced is have more connections within the businesses. So if you're strong in one relationship and that person leaves, I guess the only way of fixing that or avoiding that situation is just by having more relationships within the insurance businesses. So having like deeper penetration into the business, and then yeah, I've heard it a few times. I've heard even services now of businesses are selling the packaging to be able to sell into these large organizations. So it's something that a lot of businesses I think struggle with. And I'm not sure on the true solution. How did you get around it? How did you with these big businesses when they asked for the 5 years?
But you just have to work your way through it, I think. And in some of these companies, there is innovation team that you can work with. In some of these companies, they could be, you could maybe size it up in a way that, get you to pass through some of those challenges, such as if you start with a smaller book of business or you start with, a certain use case that has slightly less red tape on, and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, you just need to kind of work yourself through it.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Okay, so what does the year ahead look like for you? What are the plans, the goals, the aspirations?
So we want to continue growing. This year started very busy, and we look for it to continue being very busy. We see the private equity introduction into the market that creates a lot of opportunities. The interest rate keeps changing, and that creates a lot of policyholder behavior, surrenders, lapses, and we're looking to continue our adoption in the market and continue to push for more solutions to be out there to make sure that policyholders get the best experience they can.
Okay, very cool. And which markets are you in? What markets are you focused on? America, all of the world?
So our biggest market is obviously the American market or the North American market,
Mm.
but we also do business elsewhere, um, mostly with our partners than independently, but also interested in some of the European market, um, and elsewhere, wherever insurance companies feel that they have issue with their surrender rates, lapse rates, etc., and also feel comfortable sharing their data and identifying ways to do things differently.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, there'll be a few insurance carriers or insurance providers that are watching this podcast. So hopefully they can head over your way. I'm sure lots of them are facing the problems that you can solve. So yeah, we'll put your links in the description. Where should people go to find you?
My name is my email is dror@adidas.com. You can either reach out to me directly or go through our website, or through our LinkedIn. We would be more than happy to speak to anybody on those topics.
Perfect. That sounds good. Well, thanks for coming on, Dror, and yeah, I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you.